The great Charlie Chaplin once said, "All I need to create comedy is a park, a policeman, and a pretty girl." Well, times have changed since the early 20th century, and these days all I need to create comedy is basically just an internet connection, a webcam, and a head that suffered way too many blows throughout the years. Anyway, welcome everyone to the Middle Toe. That's the name of the channel. I'm not sure what the reason is. Yeah, no, actually there is a reason. The reason is that it's supposed to be an obvious reference, allusion to the middle finger. That I would like the channel to have a similar attitude, a middle fingerish kind of attitude. But alas, the dreaded YouTube algorithm tends to not look favorably upon such naughty language. So we'll have to basically transfer the finger from the hand to the toe to the foot. It's the foot version of the middle finger, basically. So yeah, the family-oriented kind of version, because restrictions forced upon me by YouTube. Also, it's a reference to someone who I really look up to. His name is Tom Campbell. He's an ex-NASA physicist who has come up with an interesting, mind-blowing actually, theory. It's called My Big Toe, and if you're interested in this sort of stuff, go check it out. It really is fascinating. It might change your life forever. Quite like this channel, who's but in a different direction, I guess. This channel might scar you for life. Yeah, Tom's work is magnificent, but it's way too deep, and we do not discuss deep channels on this channel. So let's move on to the first topic. Let's talk about the sense of smell, the olfactory sense. You know, it's so underwhelming. It's so. I find it so almost unnecessary. It's a sense, right? We have 5 senses, and this is one of them. So it's like if the senses were the Justice League. You know, the sense of smell would be Aquaman. It's lame. It's a sense, but it's lame. It's because, think about it, because if you went held a survey and asked people what sense they would give up if they had to give up one of their senses, it's most likely the answer would be 99% of the cases the sense of smell. Losing your sight or your hearing is quite awful. In fact, there are distinct adjectives describing people who have no sense of sight or hearing, right? Blind, deaf, mute if you can speak, although it's not a sense. Anyway, I dare you to find a word that people actually use that describes people who has no taste of smell. Okay? In use. Yeah, it's pretty underwhelming, and think about it. 99% of the stuff that you can smell, or the vast majority of the stuff that you can actually use the sense of smell with, is pretty horrible stuff, right? I mean, it's in the wild where the sense was developed and came to be. The stuff you'd encounter on a regular basis would be rotten stuff, rotten food, rotting corpses, shit, this kind of stuff. That's very lovely, right? I mean, sure, you can also smell. The only time you would actually come upon something that smells pleasant is when you come upon a flower, right? Sort of plant or plants in general, but yeah. In general, it's mostly unpleasant stuff. And sure, I get it. It's there. It's an auxiliary sort of sense. It supports the sense of taste, right? Without it, the taste of your food would be a lot less pronounced. But it's sure it has its own place. It's just not the place that it commands, that it actually demands. I mean, think about it. For something that gives you so little, it takes up a huge area. It takes up a huge area on your face and a major location right there in the middle of your face. And if you're unlucky, some people are very unlucky, thus their noses take up a much larger percentage of their faces for no good reason whatsoever. If it had to be proportional to what its actual use is, location and area wise, then I would say it had to be the size of your fingernail and located somewhere on the back of your head or in your armpit, right? Way too much attention for something so relatively insignificant is what I say. I mean, think about the way it actually came to be. It's like one day God or nature, whatever, the universe, decided that it wanted to give this tiny little organism crawling on the face of the planet a new way of knowing its surroundings. So, but since 99% of this stuff, the sense actually takes is horrible, it would be like, the sense only gets activated when you are canned from your work, your bank steals from you, and your girlfriend dumps you. Who needs this crap, right? Okay, moving on. I'm so lazy. I'm probably the laziest person I know. I mean, my spirit animal, if I had one, would be a paraplegic sloth. I'm so lazy I hire someone to scratch my balls. I'm so lazy I consider combing my hair demanding physical activity and a future Olympic sport. Definitely. This thing's hard. I'm so lazy I only blink on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I am by far the laziest person I know. But I recently found an interesting fact. Any action actually increases the level of entropy in the system. Entropy is the level of disorder in the system, in which case the universe. And when you reach a certain level of disorder, of entropy, the system pretty much unravels itself. So basically what I'm doing by not doing is I'm preserving the universe. So just refer to me from now on as Jackie, Protector of the Universe. Thank you very much. I'm doing what I can. So, I actually have a confession to make. I have been pretty much faking my intellect or my level of knowing of stuff my entire life. People actually think that I'm much smarter than I am, which is not at all. And I can share a few tips with you if you want to basically also pretend that you're much smarter. If you want people to not think that you're the morons that you are, because I'm a genuine, complete moron, and I still manage to get by in life without people thinking that I am the moron that I am. So let's start with a few basic tips. First of all, when you engage in a conversation with someone on a topic that you know nothing about, the best course of action would be to basically refer, if it sounds vaguely familiar, whatever the other person is talking about, just use your knowledge of basically comedy shows, TV shows, and movies. Because everything is there. Everything that has ever existed has been referenced in one movie or a show or another. So, so, for example, so so I've been hearing you're actually into quantum physics, right? I mean, yeah. Okay. So what do you say about the work of Niels Bohr? I find so inspirational. He's a revolutionary scientist in my mind. I mean, I consider him as just as great as Leonardo da Vinci, the scientist, right? I consider him just as great as Albert Einstein, for example. His work is revolutionary. Don't you think so? Well, yeah, Niels Bohr, yeah, yeah, he was pretty good in Frasier, right? I mean, he is a bore, let's face it. But then again, he did end up marrying this pretty hot British chick, right? I mean, no, so maybe it's not that, but it's definitely inspirational, an inspiration to us all. It is, yeah, scientifical, yeah, great scientist. I definitely think he was great in Frasier. So what's your opinion on Heisenberg's uncertainty principle? I find it fascinating that you can't really deduce the exact properties of a particle based on this. It's mind-boggling, really, that we can really know so little about something so significant, right? What's your take on it? Well, yeah, Heisenberg, right? It's it's such an uncertain. I was so uncertain about the whole thing. Uncertainty was definitely through the roof right there. I agree. You can't know anything about anything except especially when Heisenberg is involved. It's such a yeah, Heisenberg and the blue mat stuff. little, yeah. That was the one certain thing about the thing that you would know that the quality would be there, right? Yeah. Okay, so the second tip I can share with you is you should almost always disagree with your partner. It makes them appreciate you so much more as a free thinker. You know, if you disagree with a lot of what they say. For example, you know, it's such an, you know, it's so astounding that some things are absolutely constant, like the speed of light, for example. You can't go beyond the speed of light, right? I find this, it's a hard cap put on by something, by the universe. You can't go past it, no matter how hard you try. And yeah, it's so constant. What do you think about it? Speed of light, yeah. Actually, I heard the other day that, you know, it's not as constant as you think. You know, in the late 70s, for example, for a few years, in the late 70s, the speed of light actually, you know, got reduced by quite a lot. And, you know, incidentally, that was exactly the time where disco became really popular. I'm not saying there's a connection between the two. I'm just laying out the fact, putting them right there. You can do whatever you want with them. Just saying. So basically, the next thing you want to do is establish your intelligence, solidify it by using an objective as a high authority source. For example, so the other day I went with my mama. I went shopping with my mama, and she bought a T-shirt that says "I'm with genius." I'm with genius here, right here. And I was with an arrow pointing that way, and I was standing right next to her. You're an idiot. Yeah, like I said, never fails. This method never fails. Right, guys, that's it. That was it. Let's wrap it up for today. That's it for this video, and I'll see you at some point in the future. Who knows? Hopefully with a lot better stuff that I'm concocting here in the meantime. That was it for today, guys. So, see you next time. Bye-bye!